My name is Rhapsody, and welcome back to the Bazaar. Since last we spoke, Dooley has also been patched. Look, there's a little bit of backstory. I'll get into it at some point. I lost a lot of recording. Whatever, it happens. Look, I accidentally deleted footage in order to make the space to edit the footage. Now look, you might say, Raps, that's a bit of a dumb mistake. I would agree with you. And that's where we can leave it. Oh, there was such good runs too. All right. The reason I have to mention that is because the Mac run was before the patch. And that Mac run had the old calcinator, all of the reagents and catalysts. Would have been good fun. That's still a good fun build. But at that time, I also went through the patch notes, where I would have mentioned that Dooley doesn't get his core at level 1 anymore. He gets it at level 3, which gives you the opportunity to find what you may, and then decide out of 5 of the 6 cores which are offered to you, so you can't necessarily see all of them, but you will probably see the one you're looking for. Then you get to decide which jives most with the items that you've started to run. That's particularly cool. I like it. I think it's an additional reason to go for an enchanted item on Dooley. You might find a little bit more direction that way, some golden income, gold tier skill. I mean, it's also a good reason for a gold tier skill, because like if you find fiery here, then maybe you take the burn core, rather than having to take the burn core and then find fiery. I'm gonna go with enchanted. No. Yes. No. No. Yes. 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 No. Let's go gold. I need to fill a whole board, and Dooley, I'm not used to having to do that. I usually have 2 slots that are filled on the first day, and then after that, that goes in the backpack. We still sell small and large items. 4 additional gold here and then running an empty board. I would really prefer to have something on board.
Hugelings use these things?
Especially because there's items like crypto. Wait, no, this is not the item I was looking for. Damn, I was looking for memory card, which gains value over time. Crypto I will still take.
I only sell things so I can buy things.
As well as battery
Huge
and...
things.
Hell, I'll take Wallace. Early on, this is good enough shield. Very early on. Day 1. Welding torch. While you have shield, this item's cooldown is reduced by 50%. It's also a gear and Oliver. When you sell the tool, this gains +1 max ammo, and the red firefly when an adjacent item hastes or slows. Charge this 1 second. I don't really want to collect the red firefly and start looking towards. But also, I can get it without much cost. It's only 1 gold. I hold it in my inventory for a little bit of time. Maybe it ends up being relevant. I think right now I'll just go Wallace and Welding Torch.
On behalf of the Grand Society of blah blah blah, bye!
I could take Gear and Oliver and start selling tools as well, Welding Torch being one of the tools, but Welding Torch is also my only damage at the moment, so I'm actually going to hold off on that. One of the reasons it is nice to not have to pick my core yet is because if I beat Bananable in a very specific fashion, which is to say, if he happens to drop duct tape, then there is a specific core that I might want a little more. Same for if the Viper is my quarry, and we get the Toxic Fang. I'm gonna go for the Bananable. Duct tape, of course, says when you use the item to the left of this, shield fine. And also every 6 seconds, slow down in 1 second. The little hint of what I would take with this, obviously being Armored Core, but you don't have to have Armored Core and then find this. Ooh, Overheal Haste. The first time you overheal each fight, haste your items for 2 seconds. Getting a First Aiden out for a very quick heal at the start of the fight now seems like a really high priority for us. I'm gonna grab my experience from the Tiny Furry Monster. Oh, a bronze item upgrade. That actually might be enough on the Welding Torch right now. How much more damage does it get? Oh, its cooldown goes down. Is that good enough? Its cooldown would go down to 6 seconds. Its cooldown gets all the way down to 4 seconds. It's actually not that bad. Upgrading the battery is an additional second off of it. I don't feel like Welding Torch stays on our board long term. So what, 6 seconds, it'd be 3 seconds for burn 8, which would give us the ability to actually stack burn on the enemy. You know what? I've never used this weapon because I don't respect it, but they patched it. They gave it some more burn. Now it lowers its cooldown as it gets upgraded. I do have a shield item. I mean, you know, if now's not the time for it to shine, when will be? I do think my battery should probably be targeting Wallace, though. But yes, first aid now on the field is a very fast heal that also hastes, giving additional haste to the whole board because of the overheal haste would be great for us. Oh dear. Well, actually, hang on, the Toxic Yo-Yo does no damage. Well, it does 1 damage, but poison at 0.1 rounds down to 0. 10% of 1 being 0 in this game. So we'll be winning this one. Hell yeah. I honestly did not expect to win day 1.
Well, I guess motivation isn't everything.
Of course, I don't know what's in their backpack. They could have a fixer-upper they're working on, you know. I was about to say, Final Flame or First Burn or whatever it is. Both of those would be pretty good. Just a little bit of additional burn for the Welding Torch. Oh, we've also got the Crypto selling for full 5 at the moment, so I'll sell that.
It takes real confidence to let a kid train you. I'm impressed.
Tiny Furry Monster for another experience is nice, but not strictly necessary, but it would give me the ability to fight one of the non-most powerful, one of the weaker, there we go, one of the least powerful enemies, getting 2 experience and still being able to get my level up. Anti-sell small items, exactly what I'm looking for, just fill my board. Uzi, 2 seconds for 10 damage. I don't dislike it. It's a good fast trigger for a core later on. Similar for GPU, every 4 seconds, haste the core for 1 second. But I'll get my core before it's very important as Dually now that you hit level 3 before the day 2 fight, specifically because level 3 is when you get your core. And the cores are much more powerful than they used to be. So you really want that power spike then. I mean, you always want that power spike. You always want those additional 2 slots. But like, it's so much more make and break for Dually now. I will take the GPU.
Tell everyone you got it here.
Copperhead has too long of a cooldown, even if he does now do a decent amount of poison. Green Wasp and Hamlet. When he's slow, charges 2 seconds in Green Wasp. When an adjacent item slows or freezes, charge this 1 second. Again, I'm going to take the opportunity to just hold one of these in the backpack, just in case. Because if I find Black Spider, you know, then suddenly we've got the 3 of them that connect together, and then suddenly this is starting to look like a really good idea. I can't see a reason I would want to go for the Covetous Thief over the Rogue Scrapper here. So I'll just take my experience advantage into the next day. Yeah, Welding Torch is a decent amount of burn right now. granola bar. I've had so many opportunities to get it. I should have gotten one earlier. I knew I was going to have one later. Could have had the upgrade. Block party, get a friend. I'm actually kind of leaning that direction. Just because I can't really see too much value out of Curio right now. Like, I could start collecting things that Curio could give value to other items later. Like, I could get +1 burn from Cinders. I could possibly get +3 from the Salamander, but I can't ask for that. Much rarer. There's also the additional seconds of slow or additional seconds of haste, which are nice, but I really do feel like getting a friend is going to be much more powerful than that, because it would cost most of my money to get very speculative options in Curio right now. It costs 4 to reroll there. Any of the ones that really upgrade things I'm interested in also cost 4. And I wouldn't be able to sell those items just yet because I don't have the items they actually buff. Black Spider and Yellow Mantis, I think, is the other one, respectively. So yeah, I'm going to get a friend. Green Wasp upgrade. Cool. Time for our core. Yeah, I was wondering what I would do. Companion core. Haste adjacent items 2 seconds. When you use another friend, charges 1 second. I will note, Companion core and the core both have unique upgrade paths compared to the others. They lower their cooldown by 1 second every upgrade. So at Diamond tier, they are 4-second cooldowns. Whereas Weaponized core, the upgrade, in fact, for Weaponized, Armored, and Ignition, this upgrade holds. Instead of buffing the items to the right, they now buff themselves and the items to the right, which is significantly more powerful, as you may imagine. Your rightmost burn item has positive burn. Now, I could just field the ignition core and then pop the welding torch over the other side of it. It'd be fine. But is that really what I want to do? Am I committing to welding torch? This is kind of just what I'm doing at the moment. I don't really have something I'm committing to right now. I do really like the idea of armored core, but I also really like the idea of armored core specifically in a world where I have duct tape, which I don't have. Companion core. I got a couple of friends, and this one cares when adjacent's haste, so I could get away with running that. I think maybe it's... oh, gosh. Ignition core or companion core here? If it's ignition core, I just start focusing on the speed of the things I do on the left-hand side, so like GPU, battery, and Uzi. I keep Wallace here just so that welding torch is a quick application. It's like, it slots onto our board quite easily. We've only got 2 of the bugs right now. One of them's upgraded. We are on level 2. I'm going to take the ignition core. If I am going to go bugs, I don't think I will need my core on the field. Okay, and that's the way I'm still leaning here. Let's go to the mountain pass and take a fight, please. Hell yeah. Come on, giant mosquito. Offer me amber. Slow an item for 3 seconds every 6 seconds. Your other slow items have +1 second of slow. I mean, I'll also accept rush. At the start of each fight, haste a weapon. 3 seconds. What do we got here? Proboscis. When you slow, deal 8 damage. The enchantments for this saying when you slow, do X. Not relevant right now, but there's a world in which we end up with enough slow triggers for this to be good. Hexadecimal. Do I think this is my best board state? I do. I'm just worried about the fact that I'm not realistically gonna have shields.
My fight isn't with you, but if
I'm against a Vanessa, and I only have Wallace. So my shield's gonna be shredded away quite quickly. Oh boy, especially by that grenade. Thank heck the grenade has not got reload, because it did crit us for 250 damage right there.
You've got talent. You should put it toward nobler use.
But our burn follows up and takes them down. Yeah, realistically, all of the burn is coming out of Ignition Core. So 2/3 of the burn was out of Ignition Core. The rest was out of the Welding Torch, which means that the Welding Torch would be better served as 2 slots that just give additional speed to the Ignition Core, and then we pop that back over the right side. Middle sells medium items, but those aren't necessarily the ones I'm looking for right now. Extracts or mandala. Well, I guess I'm looking at medium
Take
items.
your time. I'm pretty laid back.
Defense matrix. Every 8 seconds, haste adjacent items 1 second. When you use an adjacent item, shield 5. So this and the this and duct tape represent the real god tier draws for a armored core build. Getting their shield triggers outside of their cooldowns, done by a trigger of a passive instead, much more achievable. Blast doors and pulse rifle. Pulse rifle would actually be pretty quick resolutions for the sake of the ignition core right now. It's only 2 gold investment. I'll do it.
And I'll trot it to your door.
Yeah, legitimately, that's significantly faster for our actual damage item. Let's roll here. Yeah. Chemsnail poisons and slows, which does make it an item that can go between the green wasp and the red firefly. It slows, so it also triggers the proboscis. Ugh. I don't think those justify using it. The welding helmet does have a relatively fast activator for a burn, but I really think I should probably just take the schematics here. When you level up, get a tech item, and then use the tech items that come out of this to fund our economy. But more importantly,
Delivery's free. I like the exercise.
to try and gain additional speed on our fields, because a lot of the tech items buff one another, or charge one another, or haste one another. So then we use all the tech items to just speed up the ignition core. And he sells small items. I do like the idea of an eating contest right now. It wouldn't be too difficult for us to organize. Just sell the granola bar, get 150 max HP. Yeah. At least 1 charge of additional HP here should make it much easier for us to win fights. Oh, I'm very happy that we've done that before we go into the hoverbook. Hoverbook hooligan. The hoverbike hooligan, rather.
What you saying, voice man?
I think my mouth was trying to make the shape for saying Scout Trooper while still trying to say hoverbike hooligan? Hooligan? Or it's possible that my mouth is just not contributing with my brain today. Contributing?
Hey, just let me go, yeah?
Cooperating is the word I was looking for, and in failing to get it, I proved my thesis. Gunner. You're riding some +1 max ammo. Actually useful here. Sure. Greater bronze tier item. I like the idea. Ooh, we got virus as our tech item. One of the slowest items we could get. I do like the idea of our bronze tier item increasing the speed of our board. So I want it to be either the battery or the GPU. I'm gonna hit the battery. Because I think there's more ways to accomplish haste. I may not even need the GPU in the end. Investing yourself in 1 income. The lost crate for a silver tier medium item is still really good. Because it could also be schematics. We could get gold schematics this early. Every time we level up, we get a tech item and it has to be gold tier. Yeah. I mean, it is a tech item. Defense matrix, haste adjacent items 1 second, and when you use an adjacent item, shield 5. Not especially great for us, admittedly. but not awful. Could definitely be worse. Yeah, there we go. That's the ordering we want now. Speed up the GPU a little bit. Wallace doesn't need to be sped up because we get our shield from the defense matrix, but also we don't really realistically get that much shield. Unfortunately, we don't provoke a fight there, so we just get a single experience. Alright. I still expect to win today against Mac. Ooh, they're doing the lifesteal build and they've got strengthened left-handed. Maybe not then. Because that magic carpet can get pretty quick. And it's lifestealing. I'm dead. That's also a very early golden amber with incense, slowing our board considerably the entire time. Yikes. Not a build I want to run into again, that one. The docks, I definitely need to go to Kena. I'm looking for speed.
Reward the peaceful, punish the... Your aura guided me to what you needed.
I'll upgrade the battery. I would love to replace the pulse rifle because it's literally just here for speed of activation. That said, I don't think either of those are appropriate replacements. Metronome. When you use an adjacent item, haste the other adjacent item 1 second. I do think that needs to be on our board. But I could not tell you where it needs to go right now. Do I use the battery to charge the defense matrix? Metronome doesn't want to be charging that. I guess defense matrix there, maybe? Ah. Yeah, here's the problem. This battery needs to go on the other side of the ignition core. It gives 1 second of charge if it's on the left-hand side. It gives 3 seconds of charge if it's on the right-hand side. But this gives us the ability to give both metronome and defense matrix adjacencies that are very fast. Alright. And he sells small items. I would love replacements for basically the entire left side of our field. Uzi gets 2 more ammo. That's worthwhile.
For your size.
Remote control, 10 seconds to use the core is too much. Light bulb. 4 seconds, adjacent items gain 2% crit chance for the fight. Like, it's not... It isn't bad. We do want stuff like that, just as fast triggers.
Diamonds come in small boxes.
Are GPU and light bulb better than the Wallace pulse rifle package? So over the course of 10 seconds, this has 7.5 resolutions, basically. Over the course of 10 seconds, GPU light bulb has 4. But also, I'm not accounting for a final slot. So yeah, if I get another 4-second item that I can replace Wallace and pulse rifle with at the same time, then it goes on board. Which could be the laser pistol. Every 4 seconds, deal 16 damage. It's also a tech item, which would set us up for more tech transition in the future. Okay, I think that's finally my convincing there. I'll take that.
You want to buy that? I mean, excellent choice.
I really want to place this defense grid with something else. 8 seconds to haste adjacent items, 1 second, and it's giving me a, frankly, trivial amount of shield. That needs to change. Argento, silver tier skills. Quick freeze. The first time you haste each fight, freeze an item 3 seconds. Great.
Thanks for trusting me. I hope we can do this again.
We do that very quickly. I do get some shield from Defense Matrix, so I think I would have enough protection to fight Flame Juggler here. You know what? No. Boiler and Brawler, there's like almost no chance you do this. But if you do, time to tinker. When you haste shield 10, the overheal haste would haste all of my items, and obviously Defense Matrix is hasting adjacent items, and when you use an adjacent item shield 5, it is possible that we could turn this into a Armadillo build. If you give me the right skill. You never do is the thing. It's always toolbox with you. Other tools have their cooldowns reduced by 5%. There's not many items that are both tech and tool, unfortunately, which is also a good reason not to necessarily go to Orion right now. We got the updated thrusters. Instead of giving both adjacencies cooldown reduction and burning both players on use, now the item to the left of this is a vehicle, and its cooldown was reduced by 5%. Not really going to be especially relevant for us here. I think I'm going to have B1 and B2 hit the GPU with a haste up.
We're part shop, part museum.
So that I'm still open to this kind of tech build. Middle and Nufu. I kind of want to look at middle, because I could sell the Defense Matrix for the right tech item.
Welcome in, hon. What can I get you?
The Zword. Adjacent items have their cooldowns reduced by 10%, and this has +1 multicast if you have a large item. It is a weapon and a tech item. It has 8 seconds. So unless it has that multicast, it's not great. And even with that multicast, 2 weapons that costs 4-second cooldown, so like kind of the base rate for a fast weapon, in each of these 2 slots, over the course of 8 seconds, they would fire 4 times. Pulse rifle, security. I think this is a roll. Tesla coil. When you use an adjacent tech, charge 1 item 1 second. And then the Tesla coil itself does 60 damage every 6 seconds. My fastest tech items are the ignition core, as well as, I guess, whichever GPU, light bulb, laser pistol, whichever of those has haste. I mean, Tesla coil is definitely better than Defense Matrix in this instance. So I'll get rid of that. And I don't have a reason currently to care about thrusters, and if I do want to care about thrusters, it'd be a higher rarity, so I will take the Tesla coil here.
I think you're really gonna enjoy that.
And then I'm going to use the Uzi to give perma-haste to the laser pistol, so that is the fastest tech item next to the Tesla coil, and the ignition core is the other one, so this is going to give charge out to other items on the field. There is also the shield. Shields for 75, freezes an item for 1 second, has +1 multicast if you have a large item, and also adjacent items have their cooldowns reduced by 10%. I do like the idea of running that alongside a bunker, but the thing is you have to get the bunker first, because bunker is such a unique thing. Your shield items have +1... wait, your shield... Bunker doesn't give you a higher cooldown, does it? No! Your shield items have +1 multicast. Unlike Robotics Factory, which gives you multicast and increased cooldown, Bunker does not take a cooldown hit. Jaeger Couture. What a fashionable hunter.
I may be young for a captain, but I've seen my share of storms.
I'm still sad I didn't get that from Season 1. Oh boy. That is a very big elemental depth charge this early. Poison 6, burn 4, freeze a medium or small item for a second, has +1 multicast for each other aquatic item they have, and they have 8. Alright, do I do big burn fast enough to survive this? Alright, they started to resolve, and now I'm dead.
Landlords make you predictable. You move in straight lines.
Realistically, what actually got me there was the shielded mantis shrimp and seaweed, both healing, and seashell and ambergris, I guess, healing the enemy a decent amount and shielding the enemy a decent amount. I think I would have done enough damage to actually kill them without that. But, of course, you want to run a bunch of small items when you're running the depth charge. Get as many multicasts as you can. Sylvia, you're selling silver tier items. Could you sell me one I care about?
Here, don't you think?
Motherboard counts. Every 5 seconds, haste adjacent items 1 second. When you use an adjacent tech item, charges 1 second. When you use an adjacent tech, charge 1 item 1 second, charge this item 1 second. Is it actually fast enough to justify going on board? I think I have to find out.
I certainly don't have a use for it.
So I'm going to take Metronome and Uzi off board? No, it shouldn't be those. Motherboard wants to be adjacent to our fastest tech item. And so does Tesla Coil. Motherboard adjacent to a fast tech item becomes faster, whereas Tesla Coil does not. It gives that faster charge to other things. So I think Motherboard takes that and then gives that back to Tesla Coil. Then laser pistols here, GPU. I think we probably do need GPU and Motherboard at this point in order to get the ignition core to have permahaste. I wonder if there's an argument for replacing... I mean, because Tesla Coil and Motherboard don't care about any tech items being used except the ones they're adjacent to. So Light Bulb can be replaced with Metronome so that GPU and Laser Pistol both get faster. And then I think that's our board for the moment. I think perhaps also there's some play in moving the battery to the left side next to the motherboard. So in this way, it will still be giving 1 second to the ignition core, but it's giving 3 seconds to the motherboard. The motherboard is also getting 1 second for seeing an adjacent tech item go off. And then hasting appropriately. No, the ignition core's adjacency to the motherboard I think is important. We'll see if we end up with too much haste on the ignition core, and then we'll move the battery back if we need to. Don't have the money to re-roll here, unfortunately. Goodbye, Sylvia. Oh my god, Goldie right after Sylvia? But I just spent all my money. Anything lost and found, we'll pick up some crypto. And 2 golds. Ooh. Ah, it's virus. It's always virus. 2 gold and silver tier loot item, which is going to be a cinders for our ignition core. Holy hell. Scoville is exactly the kind of fight that we're looking for.
Feel the burn. The burn is life.
Give me a burn item which charges other items. By which I mean, please give me black pepper. Every 8 seconds, burn 3, charge adjacent items 1 second, multicast of 2.
I don't understand. You don't
It looks like we weren't generating far too much haste on the ignition core. We had almost the right amount, maybe a little too much. Motherboard definitely doesn't like having Tesla coil as an adjacency, but Tesla coil does want motherboard as an adjacency, so hard luck. Skillet. If both adjacent items are food, this has +1 multicast. Otherwise, 6 seconds for 4 burn. Bakun buys small items at a +1 value, and I have a fair few.
Acorns. Home.
I think it's definitely time for me to get out of the wasp dream.
Oh, just like the baby birds that nested in my mother.
Power drill, when you haste slow, freeze, poison, or burn, charges 2 seconds. Realistically, this could end up being the fastest item on our board if we focused on it. I don't really want it to have to be, but it would see a lot of hastes and freezes and slows and burns and poisons and etc. Rocket launcher, burn 3 with a multicast of 3. Could pop that over the other side of the ignition core in order to get more damage on the field. I don't really think that's how we need to get our damage. I think if we focus on our speed over here, we'll be fine.
Feel my leaves falling.
Nufu.
You have at least a grain of wisdom, since you have come to me.
Oh yeah. Quick ignition. The first time you use an item each fight, haste a burn item for 2 seconds.
I do not teach lies. I teach mastery over it.
Okay, I'm gonna move the Uzi on field because I don't need laser pistol, right? I just need one of the 4-second tech items to be adjacent to the Tesla coil. That can be Uzi. Uzi firing, sorry, that can be GPU. Uzi can be the one that triggers the GPU's haste. The Uzi itself is going to be our first item trigger, which also means we get a haste charge on the ignition core at the same time. I think this helps the speed of the start of combat for us a lot. Has been otherwise a bit lacking here. I'm also going to level up when I move into the next day, so I'm going to sell the skillet just in case. That just in case is in case the enemy has a Piggles on field, and it gives me a Piggles, and that Piggles prevents me from generating a railgun via the schematics. It's an incredibly long bow to draw, but it could happen. Also, combat core, that's another large tech item. Force field, there are multiple large tech items. If you're going to level up, you're going to need 3 slots open.
Oh,
Damn.
no ball.
I was not prepared to just be eaten by a shark ray. Let's upgrade the ignition core. Now it's getting twice as much burn scaling. Very important upgrade. I would love to also have a burn item that it is scaling.
Sale, no sale. I want what's right for you.
Defense matrix, shield, and missiles. I don't think fit that bill. Missiles is also not an exceptionally fast item anymore. Ooh. Charging station. When you use the item to the left of this, charge the item to the right of this 1 second. When you use the core, it gains 20 damage for the fight. If I had a core with damage, that would be very good. But without one, I don't think it is at all.
Every item finds its buyer. It's a relationship, you know?
Kina, I'm really
With no
counting on you.
weapons,
First
leave
Aiden.
with big bargains.
Pretty happy to see you. That's the possibility of getting our overheal hastes, because
I'm
4 seconds
not
into the
a
fight,
friend,
it's...
But I'm glad you bought this.
I'm not going to say it's certain, but it is pretty likely that 4 seconds into the fight, we will be able to overheal with that first Aiden charge. Wow, updating crypto. I'll do that. Much more to gain.
Glad we could share this experience today.
For a PvP fight, especially with the ignition core upgrade, I don't think I need to field first Aiden right now. I'm not gonna try and get additional money out of the memory card there. Especially now that the Shark Claw is actually a threat in this fight. I don't want to give the opponent too much of an opportunity here. It wasn't too dicey. Nice. ATM, 2 additional income. We're now up to 9. Gives Armory, health toughness, and shield-related items. I think I'm going to head to the aerodrome and go to Kev's Armory, sure.
A customer?
Combat core, but it's silver tier. Any item to the left of this used gives it 15 damage to the fight. Any item to the right gives it 15 shield. It is a tech item, but it also costs 6 seconds. It's a vehicle, but we have no benefit for there being a vehicle. It's just not really for us. Shield of Red Firefly. When an adjacent item hastes or slows, charges 1 second. It burns for 4, and then shields equal to 10 times this item's burn. Now, that's actually really important. Because if I can get the... can I get anything hasting to give this some additional speed? Because here's the thing. That's a really huge amount of shield if the ignition core has buffed it like once or twice. And realistically, the Tesla coil is not actually a very fast item. Like, I can get rid of that. Shield of Firefly is quite cheap as well. I'm going to take it, and then we'll see what we do with it. Shielded Thermal Lance. Every 5 seconds, burn 5 shield equal to 10 times this item's burn, and then when this gains haste, this gains 5 burn for the fight. I think we're getting out of this tech sub-theming here. Oh, one more. I will get rid of that crypto. Give me the Thermal Lance. So now... the idea is Thermal Lance gets triggered by Metronome from Ignition Core. So it's getting haste triggers for the additional burn, and also it's getting 4 additional burn from the Ignition Core at the same time. And then we have a Shielded Firefly who's also just there, shielding for giant amounts as well. Realistically, the Shielded Red Firefly is doing a worse version of what the Shielded Thermal Lance is currently doing. Maybe I don't need both. I mean, I could put it on the left-hand side. I have 2 adjacent items that are going to be hasting. Sure. Yeah, the Ignition Core charging the Thermal Lance I like this. Pole could give us a couple of really cool things. Bunker for double hit on shield items would be really good. Also good would be the Solar Farm, I think. I do think I would still rock with the Solar Farm because it would give the additional haste to the Shielded Lance. Make it much easier to perma-haste this board. That said, it's much harder for me to sell to actually buy the things I want from Pole than it would be for me to just go to a workshop and get some money. Which I'll do. Yeah, it's a bronze welding torch, unfortunately. And then we got a battery. Ugh. Not exactly what I was looking for. Malafong teaches burn skills. I'm absolutely going to go to those.
Fire poison. I do it all.
Conflagration. When you use an item with burn, that item gains 1 burn for the fight. Immolating Spark for +4 on your leftmost. Or Hotspot. When you use your leftmost item, burn 2. I don't have anything that cares about the amount of times that I burn right now, so Hotspot doesn't do anything for us, whereas Conflagration does. It's just, before the amount of scaling we're already going to be giving the thermal lance, I don't think it really matters. So realistically, the cooldown of the shielded red Firefly is 4 seconds. Because every 4 seconds, both of its adjacencies haste an item, and it gets 4 seconds of charge, 2 seconds additional charge, it charges. But Battery basically has a cooldown of 2 seconds, if we want to think about it like that. Because it also gives 2 seconds charge to something else. So I think I take the shielded red Firefly off the field and we run the Battery here. Yeah, let's go.
You remind me of someone I fought last century.
It's really nice for us to get the Uzi to fire in 2 seconds, giving haste to either the Ignition Core or the Shielded Thermal Lance, which are the 2 real important items to get that haste. Because then they pass it back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then I'm doing a bunch of burn and I'm shielding for a bunch. Okay. Okay, we've found our way here, I think. All I had to do was be harassed into actually visiting Kev, despite the fact that I tried to get away from him. I wasn't going to pay money to get away from him, though. Tox Clocks, sells haste, slow, and cooldown items. That could still definitely involve shielded thermal lance, as far as I understand it. Oh, wow. Turbo Rocket Launcher. Every 7 seconds, deal 12 damage, burn 3, haste 2 items 1 second. And then multicast 3. That is actually a lot. That's 6 triggers of haste, which could go next to a shielded red Firefly, which would literally just get, like, shielded red Firefly has multicast if it's next to the rocket launcher, because this rocket launcher gives 6 seconds of haste, 6 triggers of haste, which charges the shielded red Firefly. Interesting. How do I run a board like this? Because I think the Ignition Core, I want the Ignition Core to be as quick as possible, but like maybe it's this. And then Turbo Rocket Launcher. It's so many haste triggers. It could even be hasting the thermal lance. And then the shielded red Firefly really wants to be next to it as well. I think maybe the effects that each of these give together might actually be worth positioning them like this. There's so little speeding up our Ignition Core over here on the left-hand side, but maybe that's right. I am deeply intrigued to see how this works out for us. Thank you for another fight, hopefully. Ooh, Cosmic Rock. 6% cooldown reduction to my entire board, please. I would love that. I think we generate burn faster and shield about as fast. Yeah, looking at the burn generated by these items, the Ignition Core and the Shielded Thermal Lance are actually low. The Turbo Rocket Launcher and the Shielded Red Firefly actually holding their own. Red Firefly only half the thermal lance, but like it's half the size of the thermal lance as well. And it's not even permanently hasted, whereas the metronome is. Oh, sorry, whereas the shielded thermal lance is. This is compelling. You can run things on the right side of cores? Oh my god. 6% cooldown reduction as well. I never thought it had happened to me. We're definitely going for the Radiant Corsair here. It's going to be good fun because we just do big burn and big shield at the same time, which those are surprisingly two huge weaknesses for the Radiant Corsair. Now, I do want my build to start faster, but it's really hard to make it do that because basically my build starts when First Aiden goes off.
Have no white flag. I burned it.
That haste on all of the items on the board sets us up to just continue. Oh, hell yeah. Lighthouse, when you slow, charges 2 seconds. I'm also about to level up, so I've got to get rid of some stuff here. Otherwise, the schematics is going to ruin me. I don't really have a bunch of slow triggers, but like... What if I'm about to get one? I don't think I need GPU for haste on the core anymore. That's not necessary. I'm going to get rid of the battery. So now I have 6 slots open, which means I can take the lighthouse and possibly... Nope, we got a small tech item. Induction Aegis. Now, Induction Aegis did get a lot better with the upgrade. The patch. It has now been upgraded to lower its cooldown by 1 second every tier. So it's 7 seconds at bronze, 6, 5, 4 at diamond. Pretty cool, but still definitely not worth a slot here for us. 2 golden silver tier loot item. It's just far too easy for that to be cooldown reduction, so I've got to try it. I like the idea of Lighthouse. I don't know if I can really justify holding it in my backpack the entire time just in case I get a very, like, lucky slow enchant or skill. There are some skills that do a ridiculous amount of slows. I'm gonna go to Aerodrome and see if I can get a more specific space. Interesting. Transform an item into something new. I actually might transform the lighthouse here. Because, yeah, what if it does just become the... something I care about, like Burnker? Oh, combat core. Well, that's tough. I don't... Goodbye, combat core. Oh, hell yes. Take a random fight and get Mr. Moo? I don't have 2 weapons for dual wield. If you have exactly 2 weapons, your items have 50% additional crit chance. I will also say, this guy feels like he got a bit weaker, because the Tomu gun used to have a 2-second cooldown, but it got made slower in the bonkening. I really feel like the Tomu gun could still have a 2-second cooldown, especially considering the Uzi has a 2-second. And this is effectively a legendary item. You can only get this from Mr. Bison? Mr. Beef? What's his name? Just deep disrespecting him right now. Incendiary rounds. When you use an adjacent item, burn 3 adjacent items have +1 max ammo. That's actually not really worth our while here, because I don't use my items a bunch of times. I use them and they do a bunch of burn. If I had an incredibly fast item, if I still didn't have an ignition core upgrade, then I could totally see, like, just running that next to the ignition core. We're all the way over here, something like that, you know? Security camera. Shield items have 30% crit chance. Get rid of that. Yes, I know I have shield items on board, though. Sirocco Step. Enchanted item with haste effects. Good lord. I don't think that's what we want to do. Giving that to the ignition core. I mean, like, the ignition core would give 4 seconds of haste to an item. And pretty early on, we get to not perma haste on the board, but close enough. I don't think what we need is additional haste right now. I think what we really need is the ignition core to have an enchant that is not something that's represented already on our board.
Old friend. I'm pleased to finally meet you.
Slowing would be great. Honestly, Radiant actually is great here. I usually really dislike this, although they changed something behind the scenes. So Radiant is no longer targeted by effects. It used to be targeted by things like slow and freeze and stuff like that. And then it would fizzle. However, now it's not targeted at all, which means that if slow and freeze come in, they have to hit the other items on board. It not negating an effect, but rather redirecting the effect can be negative sometimes, which is a little contentious about that change. That said, it is certainly the item on my board that I want slowed the least. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, running into a double nanobot DJ robot and still just sweeping them? Absolutely. And need I tell you that the shielded thermal lance will double its haste scaling when it gets upgraded? If I do, then the thermal lance is going to double its haste scaling when it gets upgraded. Pole sells large items, which I do like, specifically for the possibility of getting... Would I even run Bunker at this point? What would be the Bunker board? Because the real reason to run Bunker is because it doubles the hits from the shielded Red Firefly and the Thermal Lance. But the thing is, the Red Firefly and the Thermal Lance, do I run both of them on board at the same time? How? If I've got Bunker on board, am I taking the Metronome Battery and First Aiden off? Which means I'm waiting 4.7 seconds for the Thermal Lance to go off. For the first time, 2 times, doing nothing else to our board state. It really takes until the ignition core goes off for the first time until things start, and even then, I will have access to no haste on the board outside of the turbo rocket launcher, which only gives 1 second of haste. If this was giving 2 seconds of haste, maybe I could see that. Solar Farm is another reason to care about this. Solar Farm would also be a really good adjacency for the Red Firefly. So then it would be taking Battery, First Aiden, and Metronome off the board in order to put the... What? Actually, maybe it'd be Ignition Core that goes off the field if we're running a Solar Farm. Because Shielded Red Firefly, Turbo Launcher, Shielded Thermal Lance, like realistically, I just need those to trigger as often as possible. Metronome could go off board in that situation, but like it does mean the Thermal Lance is still our first trigger, and we don't even get any healing, so the Overheal Haste never triggers. I don't think Pole makes me stronger right now. I think Pole could give me things that could make me stronger in the future, though. Especially compared to Relax and Jules Cafe here.
It's just straight boulders. This is more fun.
Pylon Combat Core and Kinetic Cannon, certainly not relevant to us. There's the Solar Farm. I don't think I take it here. If I had Hotspot, it would make much more sense. But right now, I don't see it. If you were gold tier, maybe. If you were diamond tier, I think I actually definitely would.
I will play this game with you.
All right.
I offer you
Try to figure for experience. You can't turn that down.
More than a city. It is their plaything.
I know Cosmic Rock is right there for another 6% cooldown reduction, but you hate to go there and get a claw. We're really powerful right now. We should take advantage while we can. Catfish. When this gains haste, it gains +6 poison for the fight. Also an item that I might want to just keep near me. Cooling fan. While either player has burn, item cooldown reduced by 50%. Not really relevant to us. I'm going to sell the extract for the catfish, just because. Just because. So, skills unique to dually, shield skills, or slow skills. Slow skills, certainly least relevant here. Shield skills, there's not too many. Like, there's some that interrelate fire and shield. Burn and shield, rather, for dually. But none of them are like, have multicast on your leftmost burn shield item or anything like that. Simon certainly doesn't do that either, though. Skills unique to dually. I mean, a lot of those are just related to when the core triggers. And the core is certainly one of the items that could get taken off this board if I get enough haste generation to justify it. I'm going to go for the shield skills.
With a good enough defense, you'll barely even need an offense.
Leftmost shield has +30. Nope. First time you use an item each fight, shield equal to 20% of your max health. And toxic shield. The first time you fall below half health each fight, shield equal to 3 times the poison on your opponent. I'm going to reroll here. Okay, so we did get one of the shield burn items. It's not exactly what I'm looking for, but it can get pretty powerful. The first time you fall below half health each fight, shield equal to 2 times the burn on your opponent.
Are they hitting you? Or are they hitting themselves with you?
Incendiary rounds. I could mandala transform that if I really wanted to into a random diamond tier small item. The only thing is there's a lot of diamond tier smalls I won't even put on the field.
People first, profit 10th.
Nitro, every 4 seconds, bump by place for 4 and charge an item 1 second. I do like that, but it doesn't go on this board, unfortunately. Way too late for that and tech synergies. Oh. Nitrogen hammer. Every 10 seconds, deal 200 damage, freeze an item for 2 seconds. When you freeze, charge this 1 second, and it gains 200 damage for the fight. This at diamond tier, I think might be worth backpacking. Here's the reason. We've also got Blue Beetle here. When an adjacent item poisons, charge this 1 second. Nitrogen Hammer will bypass its cooldown if I have enough freeze charges, which I don't have access to at the moment. And I don't have any good poisons. I guess I could put an aquatic catfish next to Blue Beetle. This freezes 2 items. Nitrogen Hammer sees that, gets 2 seconds of charge, gets 400 damage. No, actually. No, actually, I don't think I will be doing that. I think maybe if I had like some skill support for it already as well, like some more freeze available, it'd be much more reasonable.
Are tools weapons? Well, that's...
Hell yeah. Thermal Ace
Hey,
gets
I use
its
that brand
upgrade.
myself. Quality stuff.
Smoldering Gun. Has +1 multicast if it's adjacent to a friend, and +1 if it's adjacent to a tool, which it can be adjacent to both Lance and Firefly at the same time. I think I take
Always
it.
that tool you thought you'd never need that ends up saving your butt.
God, I wonder if I take battery and first aid off the field. I'll take the battery off right now and show you that, like, that is a really good position for this soldering gun. And it will do, like, a really good amount of burn while there. Especially, this could also get enchanted with slow or haste. And if it does, then it'll be even faster charges for the shielded red Firefly. Just at the cost of losing the battery on the left-hand side. Realistically, first aid is just here for the first overheal. And then after that, I don't really care about that. All right, that looks like a burn core to me. Oh, no, it's not. It's a fiery DJ robot and a power drill that's got crits. Glad I got a lot of shields, because that seems like it's going to be pretty relevant here. And indeed it was. We only have 500 shield available at the end of that fight, but... yeah, we've expended an extra 1,600. Nice. All sells large items. God, do I look now? Incendiary rounds does kind of want me to have the solar farm on fields. And if I did have solar farm, then metronome and first aid could all go off fields. Honestly, turbo rocket launcher could as well at some point. We could even do something like this. Oh, wait, no, the shielded red firefly wants to be adjacent to the other haste item, which would be the solar farm. So, like, that's our position. Battery to charge the ignition core to charge everything else. Oh no, incendiary rounds would be in that position, so we lose the battery. Honestly, not so bad, yeah. I do think that probably represents an upgrade on our board. Alright, Paul. The other choices here of what we could look at are pretty garbage, so why don't you show me why I should be running... Antimatter chamber, destroyed this and 3 small enemies for the fight. Only 11 seconds in, you can concede. Oh, baby. Well, I wasn't ready to consider Bunker again, but now I should. +1 multicast and you take 20% less damage, just straight up, off the top, 20% less. Really need to be giving haste to the shielded thermal lance for this to be worth it. And I really want the Firefly to be on that board as well. But if I'm doing that, I can't run the ignition core, which there goes all of my scaling. But also our scaling comes out of multicast now. How do I even get that here? I gotta figure this out. The only version of this that I can see that maintains the amount of things on board that I want to maintain, specifically both of the burn and shield interrelated items, doesn't run metronome, which means we lose most of our haste triggers on the shielded thermal lance, which means we lose most of the scaling of that. Is there another alternative? Maybe. Turbo rocket launcher goes off field. Sacrilege. I don't want to do it, but let's have a look. The metronome on instead, so shielded firefly will see an adjacent item hasting. The metronome will be hasting quite consistently. And it'll be hasting the shielded thermal. We would then have the bunker on field, and we have 1 space left. I don't think the 1 space left should be thermal rounds, because we're not multicasting the ignition core. We're multicasting these. These are the payoff. We need to focus on them, however we can support them. Like, is it this? That needs to get the haste triggers there. That needs to get those. That needs to get those. Is it like this, maybe? Bunker on board, as well as first Aiden, just to get the haste to everything as quickly as we can. Shielded Red Firefly only gets scaling from Conflagration. Same with the Turbo Rocket Launcher, whereas the Shielded Thermal Lance gains a bunch. Yeah, you know what? That was the answer. It was staring us in the face the entire time. I will keep my Radiant Ignition Core, and I'm going to sell the schematics. I'm going to try and make money for this without having to sell parts of what otherwise would be our onboard field. There goes the incendiary rounds. What do I need to free up? 9 more gold. So that's soldering gun, battery, and proboscis, but that's fine. I mean, realistically, I'd like to keep one of them, but whatever. I'm not going to sell the ignition core. Just in case I do need to desperately pivot out of this. But here's my reckoning. First Aiden, 3.8 seconds into the fight, hits the haste, hits the overheal, hits the freeze. Everything gets haste. Then Thermal Lance fires off twice, giving 2 haste triggers back to the Turbo Rocket Launcher. Turbo Rocket Launcher goes off, giving 3 haste triggers back to the Thermal Lance. This is now scaled appropriately to the point that it dealing double damage is enough. And while it's doing while the Turbo Rocket Launcher is going off, it's also charging the Red Firefly to go off again. The Red Firefly certainly feels like the least relevant part of this board, so I'm going to be looking at it quite closely. The fact that it's got multicast might still keep it above board, but without getting the damage scaling provided by the Radiant Ignition Core, I don't know if it's worth running anymore. Eating contest, Andy sells small items. I'm gonna go to the eating contest with 5 chocolate bars. I really don't have money right now. Alright, Death Knight Reaper. I think you're an appropriate challenge for us to test our build against. See what our metal is like. So granted, the enemy does halve our burn when we got them down to half health. It's definitely true the Shielded Red Firefly kind of pales in comparison to the rest of the board state, but also, like, it is triggering quite quickly. If I can find something that gives me a benefit for this triggering, I would be in great condition. Hypnotic Drain. When you use a weapon with lifesteal, a smaller item gets frozen for 2 seconds. 2 golden loots. Ooh, Chopping Stone. Sure. And Tinker sells friend items. Regenerative Tincture versus Jules Cafe. I'm going to look at the friend items and see if I can get an upgrade on the ones on board. Charcoal. When you use another friend, this gains 4 burn for the fight. Not really our kind of thing. To be expected. Green Wasp. When an adjacent item slows or freezes. Nope. We don't do that right now. Sharpening Stone is probably going to get sold soon. Oh, Kev's Armory. Health, toughness, and shield items. I don't have many things I can sell, but if I need to, I will sell the Ignition Core. Because it could be relevant for the right enchanted item here. I don't think Shielded Mech Moles is that. When this gains haste, your shield items gain +4 shield for the fight, but our shield items don't have any problem generating shield. Thank you kindly. Let's get rid of the chocolate bar. Buff our weapon before going to the next fight. I'd hate for those to be relevant and not taken advantage of. Also, the bunker is reducing straight, just off the top. 20% of the damage that we take, bunker is preventing it. That's pretty useful. Ooh, Neophiliac is on that board. That's terrifying. The first time the enemy freezes, burns, slows, poisons, or hastes each fight, an item gets charged 2 seconds, and they definitely have a lot of those triggers. I am thankfully shielding for a really stupid amount now. Our shield scale's really, really, really high, which is good to see. It means that the thermal lance is getting the appropriate focus here. I just really wish I had a different thing in the turbo rocket launcher position. Upgrade an item. I honestly don't think the metronome needs an additional second of haste. I think much more impactful than that is going to be the thermal lance getting 15 burn. Just 50% stronger than it was previously, but it's striking twice. So focusing on it certainly seems right. Cinder Chase, you know what? Give me a diamond tier burn. I'll take gold. And then I'm going to give that to shielded red firefly, because that will actually severely increase the amount of shielding that ends up giving us. Tinker sells friend items. Oh, wow. I didn't think we could get a bronze this late. Thank you? I guess thank you is in order. Void Golem, you destroy an item on both boards at the start of the fight. If you destroy the Thermal Lance or the Metronome, we're screwed. I can't generate an appropriate amount of shield to respond to you without those. Property Baron I definitely beat, though. Courtesy of the fact that I actually generate shield. If you don't generate shield, this fight can be a nightmare. Because you can just save up and then hit your all HP bar. Courtesy of the Skyscraper having a 50% crit chance and hitting for 1,000 2 times. And then also, Keychain can go off just after the Skyscraper if you're really unlucky, and immediately get the Skyscraper to go again. So it has 4 times multicast for 50% crit chance and 1,000 damage each. It can be pretty tough. Master Salesman, your items have double value during combats. That's not going to benefit us at all, but I will take it still. Grandmaster sells skill upgrades. I would love Quick Freeze, Quick Ignition, Conflagration, Burning Shield, or Overheal Haste. So literally just don't show me Gunner and Final Flame exclusively, and I'll be happy. Sick. Conflagration. When you use an item with burn, that item gains 2 burn for the rest of the fight. That's really important for the Red Firefly, which is now actually going to contribute a huge amount of shielding. Block Party, get a friend. I'm going to go to Curio. Fishing exactly for... Well, I will take the Insect Wing. I'm going to roll. It's really important, because if I do find the boots... We do find the boots. Oh my god, we found the boots and the feather. First things first. This Insect Wing needs to focus on, I think, First Aiden. Because I just need that to happen as fast as possible in the fight, and then I'm golden. So we Insect Wing First Aiden down to 3.6 seconds. I take the Rocket Boots.
You're doing your part to clean up the Bazaar.
We give an additional second to all 6 of the hastes that the Turbo Rocket Launcher puts out on the field, making it pretty much impossible for me not to have perma-haste at all times. And then we take a Feather for another 2% cooldown reduction to the entire board state and sell it. That final Curio shop could not have gone better for me. I say final, because I don't think I'm coming back to him.
In 100 years when you are dust, I will remain.
I'm pretty fast, but there are builds that are significantly faster than 3.5 seconds into the fight. So while pretty fast, I am also pretty scared.
Oh, please,
Hell yeah.
share with me your secrets.
They're actually running like a really fun build. I actually want to take a second to explain it. Amara. So they have a infinite potion on fields, which gives you regen and then reloads itself. They also have Satchel, which says when you reload, this gains plus 26 regen for the fight. Or rather, you gain, that regen for the fight. And when you buy a potion, you increase the item's regen. So the reload potion reloads itself, causing a bunch of additional regen to Amara, while it itself is giving regen to Amara. And then all of that regen becomes burn on the heavy sunlight spear, which says burn equal to your regeneration. It also deals damage equal to regen and burn on both players. But the important text here, burn equal to your regeneration. And then the restorative fire claw has burn equal to 100% of the burn on your non-fire claw items. So it sees all of that regeneration as burn, courtesy of the sunlight spear, and then turns it into burn and a big heal. That's so cool. They've even got thirsty. The first 4 times you use a potion each fight gain 20 regen. And regen. This is a great build. I'm not sad to have beaten it because I'm not doing something kind of paint by numbers here. I haven't seen much bunker play recently. I'm not saying it's not happening, I'm just saying I'm not seeing it. Fortis teaches shield skills. Bjorn teaches freeze skills. Realistically, freeze the first time you burn. Haste some items the first time you freeze. They don't really change our fortunes. I do think Adira is the highest chance of changing our fortunes, but it's also possible to completely whiff.
Without my training, your potential will remain potential.
Burn containment. The first 5 times you burn each fight, charge a shield item 1 second. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Olin was right. You are a quick study.
Unfortunately, that will hit the Firefly from time to time, but them's the breaks. Lost and Found, Jules Cafe. I'll go Lost and Found because I still need some additional money. If I don't want to have to sell the Radiant Ignition Core, that is. Same deal of going to the racetrack. Ooh. Sure, I'll take the Metronome upgrade. Definitely not going to the Trash Titan. The usual hit from Trash Titan being Juggler. I have a large item that can't be used, so don't care about that skill right now.
The Bazaar is corrupt. Let the desert cleanse you.
Hell yeah. Shield of Red Firefly back to being basically half of the Thermalots. Foreboding wins. When any player uses an item, all items gain 2% crit chance for the fight. If I'm honest, I think if I crit, I can't lose. I think if the enemy acts faster than me and makes me crit, I can't lose. I don't think Foreboding Wins is bad for us right now, and also we don't have another way to gain crit, and that's when you take the Foreboding Wins. Nifu.
This world is full of noise. You must find the quiet.
Well, we found our way to get crit. Tracer Fire, when you burn, your items gain 1% crit chance for the fight. Certainly better than the other 2 that aren't relevant to our build. 2 golden gold tier loot item cooldown reduction. It is! It's a feather for 6% cooldown reduction across the field. The best it could have been. I'll take the opportunity to hit Study for an additional experience. 6% cooldown reduction, which hits First Aid as well. Down to 3.4 seconds. It really makes a difference. I can't believe Kev just handed me the whole run. I didn't do those enchants. The enchant that I did is in my backpack. Also, especially after I've been asking so much for a bunker run. Which is very kind of him to oblige. Grandmaster, again, we have most of these skills we care to upgrade. Definitely not Foreboding Winds. I'll take an additional second of freeze at the start of the fight. It's not at the start of the fight, but it's pretty quick. I need to be floating like 40 gold at all times. 40? 30. 30's enough. I need to be floating like 30 gold at all times so that I can buy like an enchanted item if it happens to turn up, or like a skill as well. So I'm going to hold off on some purchases I otherwise might make.
Target is resisting.
Icebreaker. When any item gains freeze, charges 2 seconds. When this item gains freeze, remove it. And then when you use it, you remove freeze from all of your items. Really good if you are getting heavily freeze counted. Upgrade an item, gold tier skills. Gold tier skills are certainly much more relevant than upgrading items here for us.
Not today, tomorrow. If not this life, the next.
Static acceleration. When you haste, your items gain 2% crit chance for the fight. With that and foreboding winds and where was it? Tracer fire. I believe that in the first volley we have a pretty high likelihood to crit. That's relevant.
I've seen such talent once before, and it bloomed into a Dira.
We take experience when experience is the option. Goldie, your items are too expensive for me right now. Sorry to say it. Beta Ray, when you use the core on another ray, charges 1 second. I don't use any of those, buddy. Nice try, though. There's a little freeze package over there if I desperately need it. I won't, though. There are certainly builds that kill me. You can kill your enemy without playing a single item. Like, it is possible. That said, I do feel very strong. I only have 4 active items on the field. It is possible to lock me down with freeze. In fact, that's probably the best way to do it. This, like, toxic candles, shiny candles, small items, fast items, lighter, like, this is fun. I'm sorry that it won't beat this, though. Getting 2 of the candles, which trigger when you use small items, and 1 of them's shiny, it's like having 3 candles on board, but you have 6 slots for small items still? So cool. Midsworth, let's have a look at what you're selling. I'll be selling you the Icebreaker. And rolling through your store. Crypto! I'll buy that for 16, and I will sell it for any value above 35. We're late enough in the game that Finn is actually giving a significant amount of HP. 322 to be precise. I'll take 5 regen as well. This is 100% going to be a fight between Lord Arkan and I. 28 crypto. Nope. I need you to sell for 7 more at least.
You must not know.
Lord Arkan, do you just want to drop Eclipse for me? Every 15 seconds, use all of your other items. When you use an item, deal 100 damage. And the first time you fall below half health each fight, use this.
I will remember you and return.
If you drop that for me, I sell it for 50 gold. Then I don't have to worry about saving money anymore. Arkan's Ring. When you sell this, recover 5 prestige. Which is exactly enough for me still to take lethal today. Dang. Now I have 13 prestige and will only lose 13. Fortis teaches shield skills versus Simon, which mostly references a core that's not on field. Yeah, it's going to be Fortis.
Not shields. Try my buddy Kev.
Titanium casing when you use the core. No. Your shield items gain 15 shield for the fight. There's also Burning Shield. Upgrade. The first time you fall below half health, shield equal to 3 times the burn on your opponent. Realistically, I don't think that actually makes much difference. I'm going to take the opportunity to roll here because there is a when you burn the enemy, gain shield equal to the burn. And that would slap. Your weapons have 4 additional damage and shield for each friend. Defensive stance, when you use a weapon, your shield items gain 6 shield for the fight. Relatively minimal. Defense grid, the first time you use an item each fight, shield equal to 35% of your max health. I'm going to take that just because it's effectively a 35% larger HP bar for us. And that's all that matters. Tatiana, sells toys from any hero. Realistically, I only care about going to you in order to get wand, and I don't really have the space to run a wand on this field. Security Center, give me a shield item. Chrono Barrier. Non-tech items cooldowns are increased by 2 seconds. Unfortunately, I don't really have tech items outside of the ignition core. If this was shielded, Ignition Core, I actually could see myself pivoting this board, but it's not, so I won't. Cinder Chase, Moss Burn, Orion, selling tools. I can't think of the tool that I care about here, so I'm going to go for the burn. Oh, crypto selling for 43. Absolutely. I mean, realistically, this is just bunker and burn items with multicast. Everything else is whatever justifies continuing to run those. Oh dear, Toxic. When you poison, your weapons gain 15 damage to the fight, and that's 2 restorative venoms, a spider mace between them. That's really good. That is a lot. It's giving you a lot of shielding as well, because you've got a... Oh, a lifesteal shielded yo-yo. Interesting. Which gave me the ability to get burn equal to your max HP. Get him, Thermal Lance and the Firefly. Oh, hell yeah. You'll love to see big numbers like this. Yeah, Shielded Yo-Yo doing insane work on their side of the board. 13,000 damage, 17,000 shield, 13,000 healing. But the Thermal Lance, in which we put our trust, shielded us for 48,000. And yeah, the Red Firefly really did keep its weight here. Burn for 1.2 thousand, shielded for another 12,000. That, I think, is a pretty textbook run right there. Showcasing the power of getting lucky enough to find bunker and a bunch of shield items. A bunch of shielded enchant items, specifically. Shielded enchant items that scale. Now, I wasn't going to tell you this, but looking up in the top left there, you can see that we are Diamond 1 at the moment. The fact that we got 7 victories, let alone 10, means that we are going to be moving into legend ranks for this season at rank 1357, sorry? Which now gives us a target to start climbing. For the moment, though, my name has been Rhapsody. The name of the game has been The Bazaar. Top left is a series playlist for all my content of the game past, present, and future. YouTube recommendations are down below. Streaming past the names of the people so generously supporting the Republic on patreon.com/ApsyPlays. Add above the thank tier. And a special thanks this episode to Sorathil. Hopefully you'll have been enjoying yourselves and hopefully to see you all next time.